meeting is now being recorded.
So everything is going to be recorded, so if there are technical glitches, there will be a recording later on. Hopefully everything works out okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for this webinar. What we want to do today is this is the replacement of the old January meeting, and so just want to go through the usual information that you need to know as you begin preparing for the state meet in April. And structure of the webinar will be this. We've got about an hour, and so I've got quite a bit of material to get through. I will first go through some general information that we all need to know. Second will be a little bit closer look at the academic contests and some issues and details there. Then a section about our speech events. And finally, a short section with just some general information about Lincoln Douglas debate. You'll notice that most of what I'm telling you today really is more about telling you where to go for information more than me just spouting a bunch of information to you. So as we go through this, the intent is you will know where it is to find the information you need based on the things that we talk about today. So let's get started with some general information about our state meet. The meet date and location, we will be back at the Waco Convention Center on Monday, April 3rd. We will have our debate, Lincoln Douglas debate contest. That will happen on Monday, April the 3rd. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, April 4th and 5th, all other speech events and the academic events will take place. So debate is on its own day on Monday. Our intent is to have no interference with the debate meet, and at the same time, no sort of conflicts that sometimes arise when we try to run debate at the same time as the other events. So that's what's going to happen there. A meet schedule is coming soon. Okay, it's not totally confirmed and set yet, but it will come as soon as possible, hopefully in the next few days. Keep in mind when you get to Waco, the Convention Center, we often, every year we have rules and procedures and policies that we need to follow because we are their guests. And I'm not going to tell you anything right now, but there are always issues surrounding Wi-Fi use, food being brought in, those sorts of things. As we get that information, we will post it on the website. Obviously, the main thing we want to do is be the best guests in the convention center we possibly can be, and I'm sure that you will all help with that. But like I said, any further information, we will post that on the website as it becomes available. Coach and sponsor requirements, our testing on Tapster, the scope type issues. Remember that at least one person from each school who is bringing participants to the state meet, at least one adult from each school needs to have gone through the training procedures and taken the tests that are on Tapster. If you go there and you happen to be a fine arts coordinator at your school, you may see that you've been exempted. If you are exempt, that's great. You're exempt, but we would ask that you do please review those rules and policies and make sure that you're up to speed on the various rules about eligibility and all those things that surround the meet, okay? But again, our guideline is that at least one adult who is going to be at the state meet with the students from your school goes through that scope, the training and the testing, and it's on Tapster under testing, all right? Some entry deadlines to be aware of. Ready Writing, as hopefully you know, is an online contest that happens before the actual state meet. The deadline for Ready Writing entries is February 10th, which I believe is a Friday. All other academic and speech entries, the deadline is 5 p.m. on March 21st. So the Ready Writing deadline is February 10th. All other entries, the deadline is March 21st. What was I supposed to? Oh, yes, about Ready Writing, and I'll mention this again in just a second. On the website under championship information on the academics and all on the academics page, there is a lot of information about the Ready Writing contest as far as how to get people signed up and what things will look like on the day of the event. So please be aware of that. And in just a couple of minutes, I will go through the dates of the Ready Writing contest, although if you're looking at the screen, you may be seeing those right now. Instructions for entries on Tapster. We've been working with Tapster for several years now, so I think most of us, unless we're brand new to this, we've kind of gotten used to what needs to happen. But in the event that you need help, go to the contact link on the website, and on that link, there's a place you can go to, and I think you're going to see this here. It's called Knowledge Base. You can click on Knowledge Base, and that will give you detailed instructions about Tapster entries, all the ins and outs of getting your students entered. So that information is there. Again, as you're seeing, it's the contact link and then under Knowledge Base. Next topic, listen closely to these next two things because we have had some changes in our classifications from last year to this year. TAPS added a 6A classification. So your school, whether you're aware of it, which hopefully you are or not, your school may have changed classification. So you need to check with that. For example, I was from a 4A school last year. I'm a 5A school this year. So many of you may have also changed, and I believe what you're seeing on the screen right now is where you can go to see which classification your school is at this point, if indeed it has changed. So that information is available. That information is going to be very important for a lot of reasons. Obviously, getting your kids to the right places at the meet and, you know, their tests in the right stacks to be graded, all that sort of thing. Here also is another important issue surrounding classifications. The number of entries per event per school. Need to make sure that we're clear on this. Those of you who are at schools that are 1A through 5A, you can send 2 entries per event from your school. So 2 entries per event per school. Those of you from the 6A schools who have moved up into this new 6A classification, you will be allowed to send 3 entries to the state meet. Okay, so 1 through 5A, it's 2 entries per event per school. 6A, it is 3 entries per event per school. So check your classification. Make sure you know which classification your school is now. It may have changed. That will affect the number of entries that you can bring to the meet. Let's see. Next up, as always, we have a great deal of volunteer needs at the state meet. And there are really 3 specific areas, and this is nothing new, but the 3 specific areas are we need people to proctor and grade the academic contests, lots of people to proctor and grade the academic contests. We also need, of course, speech judges for the 6 speech events that will be occurring on the 4th and 5th. I'll address Lincoln Douglas debate judging a little bit later. And a third category where we find ourselves sometimes running a little short is with speech timers. With our academic proctor and graders and with our speech judges, we need adults, and obviously with some level of qualification for those things. Speech timers, on the other hand, could be students if they know, if they're well trained in the ins and outs of timing events. And as a lot of us are aware, often it's the kids who go in and time the events who are really better at it than even some of the adults that we send in, because they're very used to how that works. So it's just like any year at our state meet. What really makes it run well and smoothly is the number of volunteers that are that come along to help us out. So go ahead and be making plans at your school to send as many people as you can to help with grading and proctoring, to help with speech judging, and then also with timing the speech events. And remember, with timing, that student who has been trained and knows how to work with the time cards is welcome to come and help us out. For all of our volunteer needs, sign-up instructions are going to appear on Tapster. They're not there yet, but they will be there. Vina Williams is working on sort of getting that all put together and organized. Based on some feedback I got last year, we're gonna try and organize that in a way that's a little more user-friendly, keeping the speech sign-up and the academic sign-up separated, so that, because a lot of us, we have one world or the other that we mainly work in there. But be looking for sign-up information to appear on the website on Tapster at some point in the future. Last thing on the general information list of things that I need to talk to you about is our meet schedule. As I think I mentioned this earlier, our meet schedule is not finalized yet, but it is very close. With debate being taken out of the rest of the meet and given its own day, I think that we're going to see that there are fewer conflicts to deal with this year. So just be aware of that, and as soon as is possible, the meet schedule will be posted. And since we're talking about the meet schedule, what always comes along next is schedule conflicts. And the guidelines here are, number one, when you are entering your students, once you've got the meet schedule, and I realize that you're waiting on that because that kind of lets you know how you're going to plan your entries and everything. Once you've got that, as you are entering your students, obviously avoid entering a student in two conflicting events, and make sure that we don't, 9 o'clock Tuesday morning, you don't have one kid signed up to be two different places at once. So avoid conflicts that you can see and that you as a coach can resolve ahead of time. Another reality that exists that we're all aware of is that there are sometimes, and probably will be this year, conflicts that are created by the meet schedule itself. What we run into most of the time there is a situation where, because of the number of flight rounds and semifinal rounds going into speech finals, we have a situation sometimes where a student can be entered correctly on day one and end up in two finals that are scheduled at the same time. Conflicts like that are created because of the schedule that TAPS has created for the meet, that kind of conflict, our speech committee will work to resolve. There are things that can be done about that, okay? So be aware of that. But your number one goal in scheduling your kids as a coach, once you see the meet schedule, is to, kind of think through the parameters of especially that first day, and avoid scheduling conflicts there. And that will, I think, help us to avoid conflicts on into the meet and hopefully leave us at a point where the only conflicts we have are the ones that we kind of know are coming and we know how to deal with. All right? That's the end of block one of the information. Okay, that's sort of our general stuff. And there, by the way, I believe there's a Q&A part of this that will happen in a while, or if not during the webinar, you certainly can send us questions and we'll be glad to answer any further questions you have. Let me go on to round two of our webinar here, which specifically focuses on our academic events. First of all, be aware that the rules for each event are available on the website under governance. All of our bylaws are there, and so for any of our speech events, you can be sure to review the rules and make sure that everything that you're remembering all the important details about the events that you're supposed to know. When you have questions concerning the academic contest, if there's some specific question about any of the academic contests, then please feel free to contact me. If I know the answer, which hopefully I do, I will be glad to share that with you, clear anything up. If it's a question for which I don't know the answer, I will find out the answer for you. So specifically with your academic contest questions, your first contact is either me, I would suggest me first, or you can contact TAPS, go to that contact page, and get in touch with Vina Williams, and she can help you out as well. In looking at our specific academic events, this is the sort of usual running the table on the events. There's a few details to know, so let me just quickly go through these. With Ready Writing, again, we do Ready Writing online. We do that before the actual state meet with the hope of having everything graded and taken care of. Earlier you saw, but let me repeat, the schedule for Ready Writing. Ready Writing will happen on the week of February 13th through the 17th. 1A and 2A schools on Monday, 3As on Tuesday, 4As on Wednesday, 5As Thursday, 6As on Friday. Okay? If there are problems or conflicts, please, sooner rather than later, contact Vina at the TAPS office and we can see if we can help you with any of that. But those are the days. It's the same week in the school year, basically, that it was last year. So that's when we'll have the actual Ready Writing contest take place. And just to repeat, on the championship information page, on the academic page on the website, there's much information about Ready Writing. Please feel free to read over that. Okay? The yearbook contest is already in process. If you entered a yearbook, it's, I'm hoping, here and in the process of being judged. So that one, not much to talk about because things are kind of already rolling on that. Results will be available at the state meet, as always. The science contest. Be aware of this. Well, first of all, the science contest for TAPS this year will be basically the same science contest that it has been for the last several years. However, you may be aware of this, the UIL has changed some of the policies for their science contest this year, having to do with mainly calculator usage. For this year, we are doing what we have always done. So the current rules for the science contest, as far as calculators that you can use, that all is the same. What we will do is this summer take a look at what the UIL has done with their calculator policy, which that can be found on the UIL website if you're interested in looking at that. We will take a look at that and see if that's something that we also want to do. But for this year, things are the same with the science contest. And I just want to add one little footnote to that. I would encourage you as a coach, especially those of you coaching the science kids, Part of what's happening with UIL2 is that the various writers of the test, there's a page where you can see some of their reference materials for the test questions that are being created. It certainly cannot hurt for you and your students taking the science contest to look over those things. Okay, but our test essentially is the same test that it has been for the past few years. Moving right along. Spelling. Spelling is the same as spelling has been. The one thing that I need to let you know is this: the teacher who has been our caller for the past few years is unable to attend the meet this year, and we therefore need a spelling caller. If you are someone who is interested in doing that, or you have someone at your school who is interested in being the caller for the spelling test, then go to that contact page that you saw earlier. And Vina, what do they click on?
Contact link.
Just contact link. Type in that you're interested in the spelling, being a spelling caller, and Vina will get in touch with you on that. While I'm there, I need to back up for just a second. Same issue with Ready Writing, or a similar issue with Ready Writing. This is more or less an all call for those of you who love to grade Ready Writing. With 6 classifications, we will need something around 18 to 20 judges to read and rank and grade the Ready Writing papers. If that is something that you are interested in, then again, go to the contact page and type in a message there that you are interested in that. Vina will be glad to get back in touch with you and set you up for that, okay? There is some, not a lot, but there is some pay for those positions, not the spelling caller, but for the Ready Writing grader. Number sense is the same type of test as always. Don't forget your blue pens, blue non-erasable blue pens. The calculator contest, calculator applications contest, again, UIL has done something. It's minor, and this is something that your kids will see on the test. So let me briefly, but hopefully clearly explain. There is a change in the format of the test, basically where certain types of problems appear in the test. The information is on the UIL website. If you go to the page having to do with the calculator applications contest, then you can see the full description. What you will basically see is that it's the same content. It's just that some of the questions are not in the same order on the page as they have been before, okay? Our test, because our test writing company is a company that also produces practice materials for the UIL students, our test will reflect that change. It is not a content change. It is a change in order that the questions are presented. Okay, so again, for those of you who coach that event, you want to take a look at that UIL page so that you're aware of what's going on. All right? The advanced math contest, same as it has been. The TAPS math contest, which TAPS math, remember, is for the hate to say lower level, but the younger students, the Algebra 1 geometry and Algebra 2 students mainly. Those 2 tests, advanced math and TAPS math, are the same as they have been. 2 important issues to remember. We don't want to cross-enter a student in both advanced math and TAPS math. We want basically your older, more highly educated math student to be the one in the advanced math contest, and then the kids who are younger a little bit, you want those to be in the TAPS math contest. And the guideline we've gone by for several years is if you have a student that is enrolled in pre-calculus, it's okay to enter that student in the TAPS math contest because it's basically over all of the material they've covered up until this year. But we really want to avoid putting our AP calculus students into the TAPS math contest, okay? Moving along, current events contest, same contest it has been. Social studies, same as it has been. The topic for social studies is on the website on the academics page under championship information. You can find the topic there and some reference materials. Literary criticism, same test as always, and same thing. The reading list is on the TAPS website on the academics page under championship information. Last of our academic tests, and one that I need to talk to you about for just a bit, the Spanish test. The format of the Spanish test is going to be quite a bit different this year. It's not, I had some people asking at the end of last year, it's not exactly an AP Spanish test. It's certainly not what we offered before. It's kind of a hybrid. It's a new, sort of a new creation. We got a hold of some talented people who were willing to work really hard and put together a new test for us, and they are in the process of doing that. To get an idea what the test is going to look like, on our website there is a practice test that has been produced by the people who will be writing the actual Spanish test. One of the main things you will notice, and this will be true at the state contest as well, is there's much more of a use of audio or video references for the questions on the test, some different graphics, really kind of a more up-to-date, much more than just a grammatically based kind of test, all right? The audio and video things that you see on the practice test, which you or your kids will be working on a computer, those things, we will have a sound system and large screens at the state contest, and so your kids will be able to see that, and there is within the test questions themselves, the way the information and the instructions are presented, there is a way that the kids are told to watch a clip or listen to a clip, and they get to listen to it, maybe even take some notes, whatever they need to do, and then they'll have a certain amount of time to answer questions based on that. So again, take a look at the practice test that is on the website, and that will give you an idea of where the Spanish test is going this year. All right, that ends the academic contest parts of our time together. Moving now to thing number 3 of 4, the speech events. And let me first of all address all of the events except for Lincoln Douglas debate. So we're now talking about the speech events that we will be holding on the 4th and the 5th of April, on Tuesday and Wednesday, with all of the other quote-unquote normal events that we have. First of all, again, under governance on the TAPS website, you can find the bylaws and all the rules for the speech events. There have been no rule changes as far as any of the things involved in those events. And so if you have done this before, it's the same process or the same types of contests with the same rules you've seen before. All right? Even if, though, you've been doing this for years, we always have questions. Obviously, we want to make sure that we get certain questions cleared up or get information that we need. So on the speech page on the website, underneath where you click on championship information, which you will notice it's really the same page that you can get to from the academic page as well. But on that page is the list of our state speech committee. Those are the ladies and gentlemen who are the experts on the speech events. Right now across the state, they are giggling at me because they know that I'm not really the one to tell you deep details about the speech events, but they are the experts. They're the ones to get in contact with if you have specific questions regarding a contest. What is legal, what is not, different things like that. So I would definitely get in contact with one of those people if you have questions there. Also on that page, regarding one of our events, there's a link to some information. I believe it's entitled Extemporary Prep or Extemp Prep Room Guidelines. That is information about what is allowed in the prep room for our persuasive speaking contest. We started allowing computers to be used last year, and so the guidelines for usage there, what your kids can and can't do, all of that information is there, and it's definitely something that you want to look over and be aware of. All right. Just to list these, in case anybody is brand new watching this today, the 6 speech events other than Leakin Douglas debate that we offer at the TAPS state meet are persuasive speaking, original oratory, poetry interpretation, prose interpretation, solo acting, and duet acting. And at the state meet, we have a flight rounds, and then there's a semifinal round and then a final round. So in each of those events, if you've got those talented speech kids, there are a number of opportunities for them there. And as I said earlier, the events are very much the same as they have been in past years in regard to rules and how the contests are conducted. So do be aware of those rules and make sure you're up to speed as you start getting your kids ready for the meet. A big issue surrounding the speech event, something that we want to do as well as we possibly can, is documentation. And that's a big thing as far as all of our pieces that the kids are performing, or in some cases creating themselves. Information about speech documentation, some good information for you to look over is once again on the website, on the speech page. There is a notebook that every school bringing speech competitors to the state meet, there is a notebook that needs to be created, which has all of the documentation information for all of your speech competitors, all your speech entries, and so a detailed list, created for people like me, is on the website that lets you know how to put that notebook together, what all needs to be in it. Also, in the same place on the website, there's a link or two below the link about the notebook, which contains some forms that you're going to need for a documentation form for each of your speech entries, and also a special form for your original oratory speeches, that are created. All right, so the stuff is there. It's on the website, and if you are familiar with this, then you can look at that and go, okay, yeah, there's that stuff I need. If this is brand new to you, then this is where you look. And as I said earlier, anything that's confusing, any questions you have, please contact one of your state speech coordinators, and they would be glad to help you out with that. Last issue with the speech events, and this is the famous one. You knew this was coming, so congratulations. We've made it to this. Speech judges, the need for speech judges. Really, here's the thing that we've all got to understand and all kind of end up on the same page. The quality of this contest is really dependent on the number and the quality of the volunteers who come and work the contest. We've got to have people who are willing to come and go into that room and judge the kids as they speak, and then other people who are willing to go in and proctor and grade academic tests. This meet doesn't work without all of you. This is not something where a big paid group of people puts it on and everybody else just hangs around and waits. Okay, it's a volunteer effort. What we'd like to do this year is institute a guideline. Basically, it is this, and this is not a brand new idea. Okay, so many of you are going to say, "Yeah, could have told you that." But here's what we'd like to do. Is the guideline is basically this: for your speech entries, your school needs to bring one person to judge speech events for every 4 speech entries that you bring to the state meet. Okay, that is, again, that is a guideline that I would like for everyone to try and follow. If we did that, mathematically, we would probably be turning judges away instead of running the halls begging people to come and help us out. Okay, so I think about a school like mine that is probably going to bring a full slate of speech entries, and in our case, that means 12 different speech entries if I'm counting correctly. So I'm thinking to myself, our school, we need to bring 3 people who are going to be willing to go in and judge speech events over the 2-day course of the meet. Okay, so that's the guideline that we would like everyone to follow. If you can exceed the guideline, that's even better. It's simple and yet complicated at the same time, but the more people we have ready and willing to go in and do the work of the meet, the more smoothly the meet's going to go. And ultimately, here's the great thing about that: the better meet all of the kids that we love and that we work so hard with, that they will benefit. Our kids will benefit from this work that we do. So try, please, to follow that guideline. Again, that's 1 person to judge speech events for every 4 speech entries is the basic plan we're going for. All right. Last topic, and then we'll have a little bit of time for a Q&A, and Vina's going to tell me how that works because I don't know. But Lincoln Douglas debate. So I am a poor substitute for Chris Mossmeyer or Marita Dusler or anybody who does Lincoln Douglas debate. So all I'm doing is delivering some basic information for you. Remember, as I said earlier, the Lincoln Douglas debate contest, that part of the state meet will be on Monday, April the 3rd. And again, our intent is to try, since that contest just functions a little bit differently than the rest of the contest, we're trying to give it its own space so that everything that needs to happen can happen. And so that's going to be on Monday, April 3rd. The topic is on the website. Okay, the topic that's being used is on the website. Here is the basic schedule for Monday, April 3rd. There will be a 9 a.m. start. There will be 3 rounds, and we'll break to octofinals. All of you debate coaches, you know what I'm talking about, even though I don't. Okay, so that's what's going to happen there. As with our other speech events, judges are a great need. Here are your guidelines for debate judges. And please be clear that the judging guidelines I'm talking about now are specific to the LD debate tournament on Monday, April 3rd. Okay, so first of all, if you bring 1 debater, you need to bring 1 judge. If you bring 2 debaters, you need to bring 2 judges. Okay, so number of debaters equals number of judges you need to bring. With the debate tournament, and again, only with the debate tournament, there is a $150 per judge buyout option, in which if you, and I can see where this could happen with some schools, if you're sending debaters, but maybe you're sending 2 and you don't have 2 people to judge, then you can pay for TAPS to hire a judge, a debate judge, to come in and work on the day of the contest. All right? So there is a buyout option. I want to make this clear again. The buyout option is specific to the LD debate contest, okay? Not any of the other speaking events that happen on the next 2 days. If you have questions concerning judge criteria, any training issues, things that judges need to know, then what I would ask you and encourage you to do is to contact Chris Mossmeyer. Chris does a great job, along with Marita Dusler and a lot of other people who I should mention, but I'm forgetting names. But they do a great job of putting this event on. So Chris would be able to give you further information because, as I said, I'm a math teacher delivering LD debate information here. So, but contact Chris with more specific questions. But just to repeat again, the LD debate part of the state meet will be on Monday, April 3rd, starting at 9. So those of you who play hard at debate, That's the information you need to know, and for further information, contact Chris. All right, that is the information that I needed to deliver. What happens now, Vina?
On the top of your computer screen, there is a Q&A button. If you click the Q&A button, you will be able to type in a question, and we will start answering those questions. So up here, this Q&A, we will start answering those questions as we get them. So one clarification, for debate, you are allowed to have up to 3 entries. And so if you do happen to have 3 entries, you only need to have 2 judges. So that wasn't very clear in Jeff's notes, but 1 judge, 1 debater, 1 judge, 2 or 3 debaters is 2 judges. So the number of debaters determines the judge, but if you have 3 entries, you only need 2 judges. Let's see if we have any other questions so far. Okay, I have one that says, what is the timeline for grading ready writing? And that happens prior to the state meet. So the ready writing dates, don't have right in front of me, but the following week we will start grading them. They actually go through a prelim and a final. And so a panel of judge will read all the papers and pick the top, I think, 12 or 15 from every classification, and then those papers will get read again. And so that happens between the deadline of the ready writing dates and the state meet. And so all the judging happens from the comfort of your own home prior to the state meet. Okay, another question. It says, I didn't know my classification number changed, and I put the wrong number on my yearbook entry. That is okay. We actually have that for yearbook. We have that already in Taster, so that's not a big deal. When it does matter is as you are trying to decide, I guess, the number of entries. That's the only time it really matters. So if you are 6A, you can have 3 entries. If you are 5A or below, it's just the 2 entries. Okay, here's a speech question. If I have 8 speech kids, can I bring one person who judges twice, or does it have to be 2 separate people?
Preferably 2 people. But if your one person is coming and willing to do a lot of work, we'll take it. But I would say preferably 2 people if you can manage it. I understand sometimes it's tough to dig people up.
Okay, and another question is the 6A speech coordinator, or did Marita move to that space?
At this point, there is not a 6A speech coordinator. We also have, in the academic coordinators, we have a couple of openings there too. There might be some information sent out about that. That's one of the issues that we need to address, but we didn't have specifically in the information for today. But yeah, there is right now an opening for 6A speech coordinator.
If you're interested in serving on any committee for fine arts, just through our contact link, just send me an email, message through this contact link, and just let me know committee interest, and let me know what committee you might be interested in serving on. Let's see, let's go back to the questions. When is registration for academic and speech events, on Monday or Tuesday? All the academic and speech events will take place on Tuesday and Wednesday, and so you will register on Tuesday. Unless you have debate, then you can register on Monday. If we are a coach for Ready Writing, may we judge different classifications? You will not judge any papers that are in your own classification. So if you are from a 6A school, I will assign you a prelim round in one of the 1 through 5A schools, and then a final round. If I need you to judge again, grade again, then I will assign you to a different classification the second round, but you will not judge papers from your own classification. There's a question that asks, will speech coaches turn in speech binders on Monday so that they have time to get any missing documentation before Tuesday?
Can I?
That is.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Best case scenario, we get there with all of the correct documentation. I have watched our speech coordinators be very gracious and helpful to people who have shown up with certain things missing, and I'm assuming that is what will continue. So in other words, somebody gets there with something missing, we're going to give you a chance to get that information together. But getting back to this, since the part of the meet where you need your speech documentation, the days of the meet where you need that are Tuesday and Wednesday, then we're expecting that notebook. I mean, perfect world, that notebook's going to be turned in at registration on Tuesday, because that's when you're going to be showing up for all of the other speech events other than Lincoln Douglas debate. So main answer to your question is show up Tuesday with your speech documentation in order. Part B to that answer is if something's wrong, we'll see what we can do to help you get it fixed.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions at this time. We just want to remind you of where you can submit other questions after today. If you go to the TAPS website, taps.biz, you can click the contact link here. Click contact. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Yep. So you click the contact, you can type in your subject. If you click choose a category, if you choose fine arts, that goes directly to my inbox, and so you can let me know if you have questions, interest in being on a committee, interest in grading for Ready Writing, if you want to be the spelling caller, if you have any other general questions for speech or academics, you could just use that contact link, as well as the knowledge base. Over the next week or so, we will be adding information to this knowledge base as far as caster instructions on how to do certain things. So that is also a tool for you to use. Okay, we'll go back to the webinar and see if there's any other questions. And I don't see any at this time. We want to thank you for coming to the webinar and tuning in. This is being recorded, so an archive will be posted on the taps.biz website for you to share with your colleagues. Like I said, if you have questions, Beth, or anyone on the speech committee or myself will be glad to answer those throughout the season. Anything else?
Yeah, and about questions again, your best bet for getting answers quickly without being sort of bounced to different people. If it's academic questions, ask me. If it's LD debate, Chris Mossmeyer. If it is speech, Rhonda Bruce or any of the members of the speech committee would be your people to talk to there. And again, just saying that because I know when you're trying to get an answer, it's frustrating for somebody to say, well, I don't know, but let me contact someone else. So go to your main source for information, and we will do our very best to help you out.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.